Hi, everyone, and welcome back to the Mighty Blues YouTube channel. It's Cal here, sitting in for Cam for a brief instant match reaction for Wolverhampton Wanderers 1, Everton 1. Everton have come away with a point. In isolation, you look at that. A lot of people coming into the game thought that, 4 points is probably going to be the target that we can maybe try and get in the hope that that will keep us up. And, we've sort of got off to a good start with that target in mind, gone away to Molineux and came away with a point, albeit in dramatic circumstances. So when you look at it in isolation like that, it's not too bad. But when you break it down, you look at the manner that we did it and things that happened in the game, you just think this club just makes life horrific for us, and how much more of this we can take, I do not know. Thank God it is the last game of the season next weekend. But yeah, listen, Everton have come away with a point. That's great, but some really negative things happened in that game. Of course, Dominic Calvert-Lewin coming off again injured. When you see him pull up like that and he goes off, normally that means you're not going to see Dominic Calvert-Lewin again for a while. We know how instrumental he is, the way that we play, the whole dynamic of the team changes. We look so much more dangerous, and the way he holds the ball up, the way he links play together, it just completely transforms the way that Everton attack. And to lose him and to concede quite quickly in the game, it was so damaging. It was so damaging at the time, and I think a lot of people really feared the worst at that point. And we'd already lost Nathan Patterson, so at this point we had 0 fullbacks on the pitch as well, and it all just made for horrific reading. At this point, you think, all that hard work against Brighton and that feel good factor, this is slowly starting to slip away, and we knew we had to come out in the second half and put in a big performance. And you know what? Wolves didn't exactly blow us away. Wolves didn't really have to step up and put in some kind of, performance for the ages. Of course, they didn't. Nothing to play for, but they still made it very difficult because they've got some very good players. And, when Everton are playing any game of football at the moment without a Dominic Calvert-Lewin in the side and no fullbacks, and a Dwight McNeil who, given his role today, was unable to really get forward, as we saw against Brighton, it was always going to be difficult because we sort of subconsciously slipped back into that Everton side who don't score and don't create and are so blunt. And that was where the fear really came, that we were never going to get back into the game and really claw back at like a point or anything like that. So to come away with a point at the end, it's like, it's huge, and it could be a huge point. Listen, our relegation rivals are yet to play. Forest are 10 minutes into their game as we speak. Leeds will probably look at that and smell blood. Of course they would. Why wouldn't they? Leicester still have to play as well. It's just there's so little football left to play, but it still feels like there's so much football left to play. Listen, this time next week it's all but over, and we'll know where we stand. Yeah, we've come away with a point, and Yerry Mina right at the death in the 99th minute. It could be huge for us. I think it was important that we really just didn't get beaten. We came away with something, and we've done that. If we forget about all the other things that went on in the match, and we just focus on the fact that we've got another point to our names, it could be massive come the end of the season. And I know Leeds and Leicester still have to play, but the thinking now just has to go. Just has to go to the Bournemouth game. We just have to go and put them to bed. We just really have to go and just put Bournemouth to bed and hope that's going to be enough, and hope that Leeds don't win both their games. And it's horrible to think about. I think everyone's just drained now, aren't we? We're just all drained now. We just want it all to be over, and I don't know how much more of this we can take. But we've come away with a point. It's massive. Yeah. It's hard to really go into reactions at this stage now, isn't it? And really start analysing games and breaking the games down and think about what they mean. And you could sit there and go on for hours, couldn't you? Really, but it's the bottom line is that it's all about the points now, and it's all about whether we like it or not. A lot of people can say, "Oh, it doesn't matter about teams around us." Yes, that is true to a certain extent, but when you're in a relegation battle, it does sort of matter, because you've got a lot of your fate can be decided by other teams' results. So it's horrible. We know it's horrible. It's been horrible all season. We've got one game to go at Goodison Park, and it's going to be a huge game, an absolutely huge game. against Bournemouth next weekend in what will be the last game of the 22-23 season. And yeah, this time next week, we will all but know our fate, which is scary to think of. And there's going to be a lot of sleepless nights between now and then, I'm sure. But we've got to remain upbeat. Yes, we've lost Dominic Calvert-Lewin. Yes, we've lost Nathan Patterson. But hopefully that they can just come up with something in training during the week that's going to come away with 3 points against Bournemouth at the weekend and really just let us go away for the summer and just forget about Everton. Because that's the thought of being able to forget about Everton is just amazing at the moment. 1-1, a point. For a lot of that game, it looked like we were getting nothing. So, yeah, if we can get 3 points next weekend, we get that magical 4 points, which a lot of people have been talking about, and whether that's enough or not remains to be seen. But yeah, we'll know a bit. We'll have a bit more of a clear view of where we stand come Monday evening, I'm sure. But yeah, God, I think this club have just really ran us into the ground now, haven't they? We've just got nothing left now. And one last push, and then what will be. And hopefully that will be in the Premier League next season. So yeah, just a quick little brief reaction jumping on in Cam's absence. Cam will be back breaking the game down in a lot more detail than I have, I'm sure. But yeah, it's hard work, isn't it? It's hard work at the moment. But that's Everton, isn't it? And we will see what the next week entails, which I'm sure will be delightful on Everton Twitter and Everton YouTube and everything. But in for a wild week, I'm sure. But yeah, we've come away with the points. We haven't lost the game. Lost a couple of key players, yes, but we haven't lost the game, which is what we have to take into Bournemouth. We have to, and we'll just see what happens between now and then, i.e. other results. So yeah, thanks for watching the Mighty Blues. Cam will be back, as I say, with some more videos and going into a lot more detail than I have here today. But yeah, thanks for watching. Be sure to subscribe and like the Mighty Blues if you haven't done so already. And I'll speak to you again very soon.